Frank Duffy Show, Gold to Go. I love this music here. This is Frank's jazz band that he put together back in college. Frank, I'm really impressed. But first off, man, love being on here. Get to be on here with you. We just got off our show right before. This is awesome. There's a lot happening at LSU. I'm turning the ball over to you, and we'll start with whatever you want to start with. But I know one thing: LSU next year is going to score some points.
Well, this is our start of our 13th show. I'm on with the Garrett Nussmeier show. Again, our most recent quarterback. And that dovetails in what I want to talk about today. You know, of course, Garrett Nussmeier has played his last down. Though, interestingly, he was actually practicing with the team yesterday. Even though he had said he's not going to play in the bowl game, he was out there handing off and, passing, because we just had Colin Hurley go into the transfer portal yesterday. So we know he's not going to be coming back. Excuse me. And, we kind of knew that because he had opted out before the Alabama game anyway. He's really not been with the team. So we knew that was coming. So really Van Buren is our only quarterback that is on scholarship going into next year. So we know we're going to have to get a quarterback at somewhere in the portal. We don't have one that we recruited. We recruited 14 players. We basically have another 11 slots that I know Lane decided he wanted to go for quality over quantity so that we had spots to go shopping with. And by the way, if you hadn't seen, though we're ranked number 11 in the portal and the Rivals ranking for our recruiting class, what's interesting is LSU has the top average of players in the class. We literally have the best average per player rating. So we've got 30 million by my count, 11 spots to go, not counting the ones that keep adding up in the portal. I think we just had our 10th person go into the portal. Only a couple surprises that we wish we would have for next year. But so the big question going forward is who's going to be Lane Kiffin's, signal caller? Because Lane is an offensive genius. I think we're going to have a great offense, but who's going to be the guy under center or more aptly in the shotgun? And I think you saw Van Buren, though, serviceable when he came in for Nuss. When Nuss, you just couldn't hide his injury any longer. His poor play, I really think, was a product of that. Some people are saying, oh, no, he wasn't a good quarterback. No, Nussmeier is a pro-style quarterback. He can make every throw in the book last year. His decision-making got a lot better. You will see the kid on Sundays, I assure you. But it was the injury. But you kind of saw, even in that Oklahoma game, we just didn't really have any offense. We just didn't. Yeah. So Van Buren is not the long-term solution. So who is? And since we don't have one in the recruiting class, obviously we're going to the portal. Now, the interesting thing is Trinidad Chambliss, who is the Ole Miss quarterback, who had a phenomenal year under the tutelage of Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin, who has a playoff game coming up tomorrow against Tulane. He has already petitioned the NCAA to get an extra year of eligibility. And as happens, most of the Division II players, when they come from Division II, to the majors, so to speak, and they petition, they normally get the extra year. I know it is in the process at any point in time. There were some erroneous reports yesterday that he had been granted the extra year. I wouldn't be surprised if they were not emanating from someone's basement in Oxford, Mississippi, just throwing mud into the water. But I think over the next week, I think you're going to see him be granted that extra year. And if he does put his name in the transfer portal, which I do believe he will do, I am going out on my second big call of the year, Rob. As I said, Lane Kiffin's definitely coming to LSU 3 weeks before it became official. I think Trinidad Chambliss will be the signal caller in purple and gold next year. Wow. And if you thought that third game between LSU and Ole Miss and Oxford was going to be something, have Lane Kiffin have their quarterback come out for LSU. It's going to be incredible. I do think he has the inside track. And though there has been rumors that Bryce Underwood, who many people, I know LSU people listening to this, they know how close he was coming to LSU. He had been not only one of our recruits and had committed to us for over a year, but he actually, for last year's class, before he flipped and signed with Michigan because of Larry Ellison and his billions and billions and billions and
200 billion.
Yeah, some deep pockets, right? And apparently his girlfriend, wife / whatever thought he would be great for Michigan. Before that happened, Bryce Underwood was actually recruiting a lot of kids to come in last year's LSU class. Right. So there was there's a potential for him coming, but like I've said, there's no way LSU is going to pay $12 million of the $30 million for Bryce Underwood. We didn't do it. We weren't going to do it last year. We're certainly not going to do it this upcoming year. And the reason is, with all that money that Bryce Underwood would have gotten from LSU to come here as a freshman, we wouldn't have had the defense that we had. I mean, we had, Delane Mansour and, our defensive backs have been phenomenal this year. Yeah. And you wouldn't have had those had you not had that. So I don't see Bryce Underwood being the quarterback that comes. We got the shot the kid from Arizona State. There's a couple of others that have gone in the portal. But, Rob, I really believe if Trinidad Chambliss gets that extra year, he will be in purple and gold next year.
I don't doubt that. And our top source at Ole Miss just texted me and said hadn't been ruled on yet. They may be waiting until after Ole Miss and Tulane play that college football playoff game tomorrow in Oxford. All right, Frank. So Lane Kiffin is a master with the portal. There's a few coaches in the country that are gifted at it, and he's the best. But the high school football in Louisiana, it's great in Mississippi. Ain't that many people. But in Mississippi versus Louisiana's over 5 million. It's the 7th most talent-rich state in America. Alabama's 6th, Mississippi's 9th. So keep that in mind. He's going to have to go to the high school, but he'll choose more than he'll have to recruit. How do you think what kind of balance do you see, portal versus high school?
Yeah, I see what you're going to probably get out of this class. 14 that came through recruiting, and there's going to be another 11 that he's going to go through the portal. In fact, we actually had a damn good coach that worked the portal, Brian Kelly, but from most of the rating services, had the best portal class, and Lane Kiffin had the second. Yeah. But over the several years that we've been playing portal, checkers back and forth, Lane has had the most sustained success in the portal. Yeah. And I don't see that changing. And not when you have the type of war chest that LSU, again, from what I'm hearing from all of my sources, the same sources that assured me Lane Kiffin would be an LSU Tigers coach 3 weeks before it actually happened when we went on air to say it's a done deal, which it turned out to be, that the amount of money that we have to spend, I mean, it's going to be an incredible amount of talent that he can bring in. And look, it's coming. What portal opens up? What, January 2nd?
Yes.
I guarantee you in the first week, if we don't have 7 or 8 new starters especially on the offensive side, more than likely on the offensive line, possibly another one wide receiver, but you're going to have at least 11, strong candidates for heavy playing time coming up. And then you're also now going to be able to replace about 10 players that are on the roster now that have opted for the portal, 2 of which I hate to see going. Kern being one of our offensive linemen, a 5-star offensive lineman. I really don't know why he's leaving, to be quite honest with you. I'm kind of shocked that anyone on offense would be leaving with Lane Kiffin coming in. But the other 8 were not going to be probably getting playing time. They saw the handwriting on the wall. And look, this is no longer a, hey, man, you took one for the team. Even Frank Wilson, our interim coach, is now going to Ole Miss. And he's a New Orleans, recruiting guru. Lane wants his own people. So even with all this back and forth, and we're losing a couple of guys, I think he's easily going to go to the portal and replace them. I see money being spent across the board, and they're not going to be shy about it, because that was part of bringing Lane in, was having that ability to spend this type of money. And you don't get that in Oxford. You just don't.
Well, you think about the guys that went heavy back in the late 90s, 2000s with junior college. You'd have a 3 or 4 year run, and then it just dropped off a cliff.
Yeah.
I can't think of two coaches. I'm going to give you three coaches in recent history who have been phenomenal. Now he's retired. Bill Snyder at Kansas State.
Yeah.
Unbelievable at mining the JUCO and understanding all that. Kurt Cignetti at Indiana and Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Last year, I mean, some years 45, 50 new guys coming in and being able to pull that culture together and be successful. Because this was a rebuild 7-win projection, 8-win for Ole Miss this year.
Correct.
And Lane Kiffin, they pull off 11-1. That's a big damn deal. And you look at LSU, high school quarterbacks. Go back in the class of 24. Of the 20 players invited to that Elite 11 quarterback camp, 13 of them have already transferred, including the top 5 overall. Do you want to go after guys? I mean, if you're going to go buy a new car, truck, or SUV, you're going to test drive it before you do it. If you've had a year or two with them in the system and they don't do anything, you sell them.
Well, buddy, we are creatures of habit. And don't forget, we brought in 2 pretty damn good transfer quarterbacks in the last 8 years. Some kid named Joe Burrow from Ohio State and some other kid from, out in Tempe, Arizona, a kid named Jade Daniels that both went up to New York and won hardware. And by the way, if you don't think to look back how great Joe Burrow was, go look at the numbers from this year's Heisman to the 2019 Heisman. Almost in every category except for interceptions, the numbers are doubled or tripled. It's insane. Even the completion percentage was another 7 points. So look, LSU is going to go to the portal. Yes, I would love to get some stud Louisiana quarterback. And look, we've been spitting out great quarterbacks for years. Terry Bradshaw, Joe Ferguson, the old Buffalo Bills quarterback. Absolutely. Fantastic quarterbacks all the way through the years. But right now it's win now. And you don't think the pressure is going to be on Lane. Let me tell you something. You're making $14 million a year. You damn right the pressure is going to be on to win now. It will not be we're going to give you a lot of time. And look, you hit the ground running with this schedule. Your first SEC game in week 3 is Ole Miss at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be on. So I do foresee not only 1 but 2 quarterbacks coming via the portal. Because, again, you really need 3 in this game. And I think Van Buren would be a very good, serviceable third-string quarterback. I really don't even think he's a good second-string quarterback. I watched him play against Arkansas, and I watched the Western Kentucky game. And then Oklahoma was a game ripe for the taking. And, look, I know we blame our broken coverage on that long play, but really that wasn't it. We could have scored 4 touchdowns, and we wound up getting 3 field goals. So, we're going to the portal. We're going to get our new signal caller. And I have a sneaky feeling Trinidad Chambliss will be trading in powder blue for those iconic white jerseys that LSU wears at home.
Trimmed in purple and gold.
That's right. John Ferguson would say.
Yeah. So now you look at LSU. This year, the defense was really good, but the offense was horrible. But it goes back, and you're right. And I'm certainly again, but the oblique. I mean, that was the problem when you try to throw. You can't throw the ball very far without grimacing in a lot of pain, and that's what Nussmeier. And look, he is a great kid. Let me correct myself too. On the portal, if there's one position where a transfer more often than not does great things for a kid, it's to move the quarterback position. You just got to be in the right system. But I'll go back to Exhibit A, though. This is the 6th or 7th college. TJ Finley's in the portal again. It all started at LSU. Isn't he from Opelousas, Louisiana? I mean, Ponchatoula. That's it.
Ponchatoula. Yeah. But here's the thing. TJ Finley came out with a lot of fanfare.
He did.
And let me tell you something, and this was the 2020 year. This was the COVID year when he was at LSU. We went to y'all. Y'all beat a snot bubble out of us. Y'all beat us. It was like 45 to
48 to 11. Yeah.
Yeah, it was ugly. But I watched the kid play against South Carolina, his first time getting a start in Tiger Stadium a week or two before we went to Auburn.
Yeah.
And he was a great player, right?
Yeah.
But, the thing about these journeyman quarterbacks, and look, we had another one, Brad, with Johnson's kid. Max Johnson.
Max Johnson. Yes.
He's like on his 9th team. And both of those, by the way, both of those were our quarterbacks in 2020. They've both spread with the win. So, but look, here's the thing. Not only is quarterback a great position when you pick up in the portal, Rob, but also running back. And it would not surprise me if Lacey is not coming with, Trinidad Chambliss as well. We wound up, having Caleb Jackson, transfer. He's going to be going to the transfer portal as well. So we have a spot in our running back room as well. So this cross-pollination between Ole Miss and LSU, when you count, we've switched our GMs. We've taken their coach. They've pulled up a coach that we thought was coming with Lane as the offensive coordinator. They now have Frank Wilson, our interim coach, and we stole 3 of their signee recruit, people that were committed. They stole 2 of ours. I've never seen anything like this. And here's the crazy stuff, Rob. As much as I love my rivalry with Alabama and the crazy one with Auburn and our old divisional rivalry with Florida, the most historic LSU rivalry, it's not A&M, though we've rekindled that since getting them in the SEC. It is the Ole Miss LSU rivalry, the Magnolia Bowl. And it goes back 40s, 50s, 60s. This is great games. So I'm telling you, that trip, Rob, it's going to be off the charts. That, game day will be there. The SEC network, our buddy Roman will be there. Everybody's going to be there. Paul Feinbaum's going to be there. It is going to be must-watch TV. And the crazy thing is that we're going to be doing it with Ole Miss staff and players, and they're going to have so many of our LSU guys as well. Yeah. So it's going to be fantastic theater. I cannot. You know how we were excited about this season getting started? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to speak myopically from an LSU standpoint. My God, we are so excited for next year. But here's the thing, as you know, sometimes expectations can be a heavy thing to carry, right? Mm-hmm. And so we'll see. Lane Kiffin, I'm just telling you, tweets are nice, or X's, or whatever the hell they call it now. Take all the yoga classes you want, but I'm telling you, at $14 million, and you go through all these things, Lane Kiffin better hit the ground running. We better not be a substandard SEC team like Brian Kelly has. And I don't think we will. I think Lane Kiffin is one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant offensive mind in the game. But I think where the rubber's going to meet the road, Rob, I really believe this. I think if he's a better judge of defensive coaches and coordinators, and keeping Blake was a huge deal. Blake Baker not leaving because, Tulane made him an offer. It was the same money. We knew money was not going to be the issue. He decided to stay with a Power 4 team, be under Lane, and run the defense. Because Lane Kiffin's going to say, Blake, I don't even want to hear what's going on in the defensive room. Knock yourself out. I want to be over here. Me and Charlie Weiss Jr., we're going to run what I think is going to be one hell of an exciting offense. You handle the defense. And Blake Baker took us, don't forget, Rob, we were ranked number 81st in defense the year before Blake Baker got there. And on only 2 seasons, we were ranked as a top 15 scoring defense in all of college football. If we get any semblance of that defense that we had this year, and we've got the money to buy the players, especially the D-backs, they can go shut down people on the island, which we had great play from. Yeah. That frees Lane's offense up. I like our chances.
Well, if you look at the rivalries in the SEC in the last 10, 15 years, they're not many of them are really that competitive. I mean, Alabama's beaten Georgia 10 of the last 12. Alabama's beaten Auburn 6 in a row. You look at Florida, Georgia, that's been way in the favor of Georgia. But Ole Miss, LSU, that might be the most currently competitive rivalry in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, in the last 4 years, I will definitely say that. We had that incredible game. I was in Vaught Hemingway two
in 23.
ago.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, boy, you talk about lack of defense on both sides of the ball. I mean, I thought that thing could have gone to the winner would have had 100. I mean, that game was a fantastic game. It reminded me a little bit of the LSU Georgia game when we had Mettenberger and they had Aaron Murray back around 2014, where it was
2013.
Whoever was going to lose serve was going to lose that game, and Mettenberger got a late pick. But that game is symptomatic of this rivalry. But it's only been recently. I mean, we had Ole Miss's number really, post,
Well, Frank, be back right with us. You're talking about that back and forth with LSU and Ole Miss. I think it's such a big deal that you've got Frank Wilson moving over from Baton Rouge to Ole Miss. He's been there before. I mean, as recruiting coordinator, he's Mr. New Orleans. He knows the state of Louisiana like nobody else. And the fact that Lane Kiffin got him to make the move, Pete Golding got him to make the move back to Ole Miss is a huge, huge shot in the arm. Frank in Cancun, hopefully he'll be back with us.
He's been taken by the federales or
the battery ran out on his phone. That's what
he said. He had 20%. Hey, by the way, I did just read that Lane Kiffin's on the practice field for LSU. That was interesting. So today,
that is interesting. Well, Brendan, it's made for TV. What's going to be going on next year? I mean,
scripted. It's all going to be WWE anymore. That's what we're going to be laughing about. But we used to believe this stuff.
Yeah, it really did. And I think LSU fans, you take a look at what you're doing. 14 high school, 10 in the portal. That's different than what Lane Kiffin's been doing at Ole Miss. But I think Yancey Porter, who's on our show a lot, Rebel Yell Hotline, said Lane doesn't like to have $25 million worth of NIL sitting on the bench developing. Either you come pulling out of the driveway doing 115, or he's not really that interested. He just doesn't like to suck up to 8th and 9th graders and kind of massage them along. He likes immediate help. So
I just see a cry for help in a lot of ways sometimes as a kid, like what's going to break college football. Don't break it, Lane. Don't break it.
Yeah, don't break. And you know what? We're going to see if Utah does that private equity deal, you're going to see all of a sudden, whoa, put the brakes on that. LSU has got talent galore in that state. They own that state. And Lane Kiffin, once he starts dialing in state, it's going to be fun to watch. And then now we're going to watch the Trinidad Chambliss, and we'll see it tomorrow when Ole Miss and Tulane play. But wow, if he's the quarterback, like Frank said, at LSU next year, the TV people, Cecil B. DeMills couldn't draw up a better script.
I don't know if he'll get the eligibility. So
we don't know.
I don't know if they want the, if that's the deal. So because we all know it opens up just a tidal wave of insanity.
A can of worms.
And Jimmy Sexton's like running through the can of worms and leading the charge. He's like, I got more stuff to like.
He's leverage. Right there behind the curtain, pulling the levers, making it all happen. God.
Looks like Frank has probably been taken into witness protection. Rob, we better wrap it up here. We're going to I'll probably replay some of these shows tonight, and we'll watch everything this weekend. We're going to join us back Monday for SEC Sidelines with Rob Browne, and check out the rest of the stuff for Frank Duffy, right? Duffster, he's out. We appreciate it. We love you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to him. That's what happened. His birthday present showed up.
That's right.
And we'll see you all next week.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for everybody watching.
Sidelines.live.
That's right.